Good morning, Year 7. So today we are just moving on to the next part of the chapter 11. So we're going to talk about fractions of a quantity, or also known as fractions of an amount. So can you pause the video, get your title and your date written down, please, underlined as you usually would do. Okay, and then we can start cracking on with some examples. So first thing to remember, this is something that I want you to write in your books and outline with a highlighter or with a box or whatever you got to make it stand out, please, in your books. Okay, so when calculating a fraction of an amount, what you must do with the quantity or the amount, same thing, you divide by the denominator multiplied by the numerator. Now, it doesn't actually matter which order you do things in, and sometimes it might be better to multiply by the numerator and then divide by the denominator next. It's up to you to kind of make that call which one you should do first, okay? Now, this will make more sense when we do an example. So, example number 1, find 2/7 of 35. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to choose whether to multiply by the numerator first or divide by the denominator. Now, I would prefer most of the time to divide by the denominator because then you end up with a smaller number. If you start multiplying by the numerator, especially with larger numbers, you end up having to divide larger numbers by smaller numbers, and then that gets a little bit more difficult. Not saying you won't be able to do it, but it's just more time consuming. So the first thing I would do is I would take my quantity, which is 35 in this case, divide it by 7, and I would get 5. And that's actually found 1/5 of 35. No, it hasn't. 1/7 of 35 is 5. Okay, so we found 1/7. Now what we do next is we take our 5 and we multiply it by the numerator, which is 2, and gives us our answer of 10. And that's it. 2/7 of 35 is 10. So we divided by the denominator, multiplied by the numerator, and we got 10. Now you would get the same answer multiplying by the numerator first, then dividing by the denominator, because 2 times 35 is 70, 70 divided by 7 is 10. So you get the same thing, it's just you making a choice of which way round you think is easiest. So make sure you've got this copied down, please. Example number 1, copy that down into your book. So firstly we did 35 divided by 7, because remember that line there means divide, okay, by whatever's on the bottom. 35 divided by 7, and then multiply by 2. Here's a problem-solving sort of question that I want us to go through, okay? So write all of this down, please. Pause the video, write it down, get it written down in your books, and then we'll start going through it. So there are 360 animals in a farm. 1/5 are cows and 3/8 are sheep. How many cows are there and how many sheep are there? Let's start off with A. 1/5 are cows. So we've got to find 1/5 of 360. That's the sum we're doing, 1/5 of 360. So obviously multiplying by 1 isn't going to change anything, is it? If we multiply by the numerator first, then divided by the denominator, it's not actually going to change anything. So all we actually need to do here is do 360 divided by 5. Now, you would be expected to do that in working out, so we could do our bus stop method. So 5 into 360, let's have a look. 5 doesn't go into 3, carry the 3 over. 5 into 36 goes 7 times, remainder 1. 5 into 10 goes twice, so our answer is 72. So there are 72 cows on the farm. Okay, remember we don't need to do anything, we don't need to multiply by the numerator because it's just be timesing it by 1. Just be timesing it by 1, wouldn't change it. So the next one, we need to find 3/8 of 360. Okay, to find the number of sheep. So here you'll see why it's better to divide first than times, because we would do 3 times 360 and then end up having to divide that all by 8. And that would end up kind of a little bit more complicated rather than doing the division first, then multiplying it afterwards. So firstly, we've got to divide by the denominator. So 360 divided by 8. 8 into 3 doesn't go, so we'll carry that 3 over. 8 into 36 goes 4 times, remainder 4. And then 8 into 40 goes 5 times. Okay, so we've divided by the 8. Now we need to do 45 times by 3. So 45 times by 2 is 90. 90 add another 45 to make it 3 times is 135 sheep. So as long as you remember, divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator, you will get your correct answer every single time. You just need to take care, especially when the numbers are quite are higher numbers. So here are your 2 answers there. So make sure you've got that written down. So moving on to the questions I'd like you to do. So I'd like you to do questions 1 to 4 from exercise 11B. Now, I've selected these questions from the exercise for you to do. So firstly, you've got question 1, should be very simple. Question 2, question 3 as well. Be careful with the wording of B. Just take care with B. And then question C, again, a little bit more problem solving here because we've got to challenge you. We don't want to make things too easy, do we? So, your top set, you've got to be challenged. So here's your note for today. So I'm not going to provide any answers today because I actually really want to look at your work and see how you're doing, okay? And I want to try and mark it myself and give you feedback myself rather than you marking it yourself, okay? So please make sure when you upload a photo that it's clear enough for me to see. Now, some of you are really good at that and I can zoom in on your work and it's absolutely fine. The issues come when you attach it to a doc or a slide, and that means I have to kind of expand it a little bit and it's not as clear. So if your photo is not as clear, then I'll either ask you to send another one or I'll find a way around it, but just please make sure that your photo is clear when you submit it to me so I can see your answers properly and be able to mark them properly. So I'll be marking this work that I set you today tomorrow. So I'll be marking it on Thursday. So can you look out for a mark then, please? And I look forward to seeing your work, Year 7. Remember, also, if you get stuck with any of the questions that I've set, please let me know. You can ask me anything, okay, and I will try and help you. Anything to do with the exercise, and I will try and help you to my best of my ability. And don't just sit there being stuck with something, okay? Please ask me. Very, very important that you do that. Okay, so remember, I want questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 done, and a clear picture of that work. Okay, really, really important so that I can give you a good mark back from it. Okay, have a great day, Year 7, and I'll speak to you soon.